put the same passion and energy into helping businesses with digital marketing? Leighton Engage works with you to implement strategic, targeted digital marketing campaigns with regular check-ins, clear expectations, and results that make sense.
Leighton Engage. Find your focus.
Get in touch today and make sense of digital marketing.
Text APP to 321-1926 to download the Fergus Now app.
When it comes to honoring a life well lived, two names stand out: Glendy Nielsen Funeral Home and Cremation Services and Olson Funeral and Cremation. Two local funeral homes with a rich history in Fergus Falls. Together, they stand with a shared commitment of compassionate care and to support families during life's most challenging moments. When you need the guidance and understanding to help honor your loved ones with dignity and respect, trust both Glendy Nielsen and Olson Funeral Homes. Two funeral homes, one common mission in Fergus Falls.
Hi, I'm Brian Schluter, retired law enforcement in Otter Tail County, and I'm proud to support Sean Sullivan for County Commissioner. Sean stands for the conservative values we share and knows how to manage county resources with fiscal responsibility. His strong support for law enforcement and commitment to public safety make him the right choice to keep our county safe. On November 5th, vote Sean Sullivan for Otter Tail County Commissioner. He's the leader we need for a stronger future.
Paid for by Sean Sullivan on his own behalf.
Hi, this is Ben Shire.
And this is Tessa Shire. Ben and I invested everything we had to build two successful downtown businesses. We are incredibly proud of their success.
But as business owners, we recognize the need for efficiency, and our local government is no different. I have the experience to create efficiencies between city and county government and a proven track record of building public-private partnerships to provide the services our residents expect, make investments in our future, and lessen the overall burden on taxpayers.
Let's build community together. Vote Ben Shire for Otter Tail County Commissioner. Paid for by Ben Shire for County Commissioner.
Remember that amazing video you shot for your business last year? What are you using it for now? At Leighton Engage, we can help you reach your potential customers through streaming TV, utilizing your video. We can help you create content or maximize your investment you already made and help drive real results. No wasted effort, just effective marketing.
Leighton Engage. Find your focus.
Get in touch today and make sense of digital marketing.
Otter Tail County, your news leader is News Talk 1250 AM KBRF Fergus Falls. Depend on it.
News Talk 1250 KBRF now presents The Coaches Show with Craig Olson. Brought to you by Nelson Auto Center, Quality Toyota, LB Homes, American Federal Bank, American Legion, the Minnesota Motor Company, and by the Artisan Agency. Here's KBRF Sports Director Craig Olson.
Hey, thank you, David Bishop. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the program, and we're going to be talking a lot of different sports this morning, and some sports are done. I mean, we're not covering, girls tennis, for example, ended last week. Cross country is down at state today, so we won't have a cross country interview. Also, there's, final day of section volleyball tonight. We'll get to that in a minute with Debbie Foss joining us from Hillcrest. But there are a lot of sports that are winding up their fall season. And as we transition, girls hockey starts next Friday, our first broadcast. So, there's no waiting. You just kind of jump into it, and practices for other winter sports will be starting soon. Football playoffs are reaching the state level now. State quarterfinals coming up. We get all the seeding this weekend. The Otters won last night. They're heading to state. More on that coming up as well. But for now, we're going to focus in with Debbie Foss on the Hillcrest Comets and the Section 6A volleyball playoffs, which will wrap up tonight one way or another as the Comets take on West Central area. And Debbie, what a run. You set records at Hillcrest, a lot of individual and team records this year. I think 27 wins, which is a team record. Okay, be honest now. Did you see this coming at the start of the year? And you knew it was going to be a special year, but
Yes.
what these girls have done has been pretty incredible.
Yep. When they, every now and then they'd inkle on like, oh, is there like the possibility of going the distance, going to state or whatever. And like, that just wasn't even in conversations even 3-4 years ago. And so just the fact that they like said that, you're like, okay, yep, we can do this. And so it's just coming, keeping them together and keep them going at this point, keeping everybody healthy. Is a big thing, and you just see what happens. So
If it's going to happen, you got to believe it can happen,
yes,
right?
yeah. And sometimes you think, okay, it's great if it happens, but you really like it is a mindset. Like you have to be willing to do the work and like learn the grit, which has been part of our theme or our theme this year. But you have to believe that it's a possibility. Like we actually printed up a poster or whatever, and it says "Dare to Dream" and then grit on it this week, just because it's like some of them like they've never been to a state tournament before, and so we just want them to like be able to live that lifelong experience that they will remember the rest of their lives.
All right, you have to explain the grit thing.
Oh yes, okay. So our theme. So it's an acronym. So it's GRITT. So G is for gratitude. So we're gratitude for the facilities we get to play in, the skills that God has given us, just being the opportunity to play volleyball. And then R is relationships. And so with each other, and relationships are so important in volleyball, and just making that an important thing. I is identity, that we identify not just as a volleyball player, but as a daughter of Christ. And then the first T is team and toughness, because you got to play tough and you got to play as a team. And then the last T is truth, and so we know that the truth stands on the gospel of the Lord.
Mhm.
So,
Awesome. That's
Yep.
been your theme all year,
Yep.
and it's carried you
yep,
pretty
every
well.
huddle.
Well, this last 10 days, whatever it's been, has been pretty impressive too. You've beaten some pretty good volleyball
Yes.
teams in the playoffs, and you knew going into Section 6A, this is not going to be easy any
Right.
night.
Yes, I mean, there's so many that are state ranked in the top 10, in the top 15, 20, whatever. And so we have a really tough section, and you got to win. Yeah, you got to win every game to get there, and you got to respect every opponent to get there. And so it's just been fun for us to like, be focused for each match, and then go into that, prepare for it. The girls are really embracing that.
Well, and to get a couple of bonus home games, I mean,
Yes.
how good was that?
Oh, so fun, especially for the seniors, and then the crowd was just packed, especially against Underwood. It was just packed in there, and the students were, like they were just exciting, and they're like all pumped for the red out and stuff like that. So that was just a great experience. But really for those seniors, like to be able to win your last game on your home court is pretty cool.
Well, and you took care of Henning and Underwood in 3 sets. Did that surprise you at all?
Yes, no. I mean, Henning, like we don't play them a lot. I
Mhm.
respect their coach immensely, and she's a
Yep.
smart player. She just has little players that are young, but you just, we had watched them and stuff, so you just respect them. And then Underwood, we were so locked into our game plan, and we had intent and purpose. And so, and yet you're like, okay, I know Breck. She's a great coach. And so we just, we respect that too. So it was just fun but we were just so locked in. It was just like a perfect game. So it was great.
So tell me about the rotation you're in right now and how confident you are, no matter what your rotation is at any given moment in a match, because it seems like you're getting great production up and down your lineup.
Yep. And so so we don't have like one player that we have to go to. Some teams will like kind of try to, and sometimes that can be good, bad, because if you're trying to build up your stats for certain reasons or whatever, but all 6 rotations, we have offense that we can bring back. We have defense in the back row that we can pick up the ball. Obviously we have some really good leaders, strong leaders, in our seniors this year, and yet they just embrace the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. And so that's just really cool to see.
Talk about your seniors. You mentioned them a couple of times as
Yep.
a group. Now, you don't have a lot of seniors, but you have a
there's
good group.
6 on the team, but like 3 that play
Right.
all the time. I'll start with Ruby Peterson, our setter. Like she just runs. She's our quarterback. She works so hard, just picking up every ball. And when she gets frustrated with herself when like, oh, I missed that one, and it's like, Ruby, it's okay. Like, because she'll figure it out. And so when she relaxes and she gets it, she'll do that. And she's just really done, especially now in playoffs, she's really just focusing on getting the ball where it needs to go. Because we know she can be offensive in her own ways as well. But she's just been, getting the ball to her hitters, which is what we've needed, especially against Breck and Underwood with that. And then Emily Adams, she's just like the quiet leader, but yet just has such important conversations with who's ever next to her. She doesn't, I think, know the gifting that she has in that. And so she's just constantly building up someone next to her. And and just giving them information. She's really a really smart player. She has a lot of experience, and she's just been hitting the ball really well. And during the Breck game, we were like, we have to go to Emily. We got to go to Emily on the right side. And so we just started getting the ball to her, and she just started cranking. She had 20. We had her for 20 kills that night, which was just like, okay. She was a little tired the next day, but yet even as planning, she's like, well, we got to everybody hitting. Everybody's got to hit, So she's not one that's like, give it to me,
Right.
So, but she'll come through. And then our other senior, Kaya, who sees quite a bit of playing time, especially in the front row, like she's just another encourager. She's just always smiling, and just doing whatever we need her to do. She doesn't always have as many kills as the other girls, but yet the other roles that she plays that don't have stats is like equally important.
So against Breckenridge the other night, you fell behind 2 sets to none, 2 close sets.
Yes.
You were in it, but how much of an adjustment was it for the girls to go onto that big stage here? You're playing for a subsection championship. There's a trophy involved, and the title and advancing, of course, to the section final.
Yep.
Was that kind of a hard thing to process initially? Did it take a while to get comfortable in that setting?
Yeah, well, I think part of it actually goes to a year ago when we played Underwood in the subsection North final, and we just choked in a lot of ways. We just played, and it was such a big stage, and I think then we didn't have any seniors we didn't have senior leadership, and I think as coaches, we had talked and heard some other coaches, like the difference in the teams was Underwood had such outstanding seniors, and they just like pushed it. And so I think that's kind of been in the back of our mind. And so they were playing, but I could just tell they were like tense and so forth. And they were taking balls that maybe weren't theirs or letting them drop. And it just wasn't the way we played. And so after the second set, we were just like, let's just relax. Let's just play ball. Let's just play. We play a game of 6-on-6 roll shot every day. And it's like, let's just pretend we're playing that. And so they just relaxed, and they started just hitting the ball and doing what they need to do. And then, of course, then the momentum comes and so forth. So it was just play to win. So.
Yeah, what 25-13, 25-14. That's a little different than the first 2 sets. So you kind of established that momentum.
Yep.
So, Debbie, you've played volleyball.
Yep.
You've coached volleyball. Okay, you've got all the momentum heading to the 5th set.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. None.
Then all of a sudden you're down 7-2, I think it was.
Yes. And I think it was just like, sometimes like you win big, and you go in the huddle and you're like, oh, okay, and then they go back out, and then it's like, oh yeah, we got to still play. So, and that's just, I had a parent just say last night, they're like, I've never realized how much timeouts play a piece in volleyball for changing the momentum. So
yeah,
you got to come out strong.
I've done several volleyball matches now, and boy, it took a while. Jason's where I was when I started, where you're kind of uncomfortable, don't know the terminology well enough, kind of new to the game. But as it goes on and you start to feel the game a little bit as a broadcaster, I know when every coach is going to take a timeout. I mean, I've gotten to that point where, oh, Debbie's going to take a timeout here, and you do.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. The timing of those timeouts, and it's amazing how many times, it does work.
Yes. Yeah. Even watching the West Central BBE game, West Central took a timeout and came out, and it just flipped.
Yeah.
So I'm aware of that too.
Absolutely, yes. So for the girls to be down 7-2 in that 5th set, and then battle back and get it, I think, tied at 10 and tied at 11, and then to stave off match point. I mean, that says a lot about their ability to dig deep and just get it done in a crunch time situation.
Yep. And we've had a couple games this season where we've been down and had to battle back a little bit. Like even going back to the Pelican tournament when we were playing Breck, we had that weird 5-point playoff game, and we were down 4-1 and came back and won 5-4. And so like they've learned that's like something we've had to learn over the past 4 or 5 years. Like you just because you're behind, you have to keep playing, and you have to keep fighting for it. Don't panic. Keep doing what you're going to do. But like, hey, we got to get it to Emily, or hey, we need a back row hit, or hey, we need to move our middles a little bit more. So they respond to that, and that is huge.
You have so many players too, and we talked about the rotation, how comfortable you are there, that can play all around for you too. I mean, you've got like Elsa Retzloff is great at the net, but she's great in the back row. And one of your top servers too, and of course Ruby can play anywhere. But you've got a lot of versatility there.
Yep, same thing. So Ella too, like
Yep.
she's just as important as she is in the front row. Her back row has been so good. We just had some games where she just gave us really solid passing from the back row. Then that allows Ruby to do her job. If Ruby has to scramble, then she can't get probably as good of a set as we want. She'll still get it there, but so it's important to have, like those players that can play all the way around. Kenzie Miller, she comes in the front row, but then she does her job when she's in the front row. Like she's like today, she's going to have to put up a big block like all night long, and so we know she can do that and all that. And then Elsa's amazing. Like freshman, no fear freshman.
Yeah,
So
right.
she's like I'm ready, and she just goes after it. And that tenacity is just like you need all of that on a team. Like you need someone who's calm. That's Chloe. Walk up, and you just the pushers and like let's go. And so it's just the great teamwork that we have.
Yeah, the body of work is
Yeah.
really fun to watch come
Yeah.
together.
Yep.
So tonight, West Central area defending champions.
Yep.
And they had a great year last year. They had a great year this year.
Yes.
Macy Gross is an amazing setter for them,
Yes.
and Maya Fosline is a tremendous hitter. But they've got good pieces too there with Sophie Sandstead and Jacqueline Nelson and Maddie Fager. I'm going to miss someone here,
Yeah.
but they're kind of like the Comets, I think.
Yep. And then obviously they've got, Maya on the outside. That's a really big threat and stuff like that. But you got to, you have to worry about the other players too. And so, and you can't, Maya's going to get her kills. We know that. So it's just like the ones we can pick up, but then be ready to do the next thing. Or when we have the ball, we got to put it down on their side. And so we've been really talking a lot about that and just, we can go here, we can run this, and just to put up a good offensive front. After you pick up the ball, but you got to respect all of them. We know their setter has that little dump to the back, and so we're aware of that, and so it's all those things. But being able to push your volleyball IQ is what it's all about at this point. So.
Well, and don't get comfortable if you have a lead against the West Central area.
For
either.
sure,
they can come back.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun tonight.
Yes.
I already feel the intensity.
I do too.
I'm sure you do. Yes.
Yes.
Did you sleep last night?
I did sleep.
All right.
Because we've been doing a lot of things, and so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, good luck tonight. It's going to be fun. I love it when two area teams go at it here. We cover both teams on the radio, and we're going to be going to state with one of you. We'll see who it is. But tonight at Kennedy Secondary School, 7 o'clock, pregame at 6:45 on KJ Country tonight, 96.5 FM. Jason Retzloff will have the call, and I'm sure Jason's excited about that one too.
Yeah.
Debbie, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And we'll look forward to the action tonight.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
No comment.
Yeah, we'll take a break and come back to talk Otter football. Another team that's heading on here. We'll have Chris Grabowska join us on the other side of the break on our Coaches Show here on News Talk 1250 KBRF.
Portions of today's program may be pre-recorded.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your forecast from the KBRF Weather Center. Mainly cloudy skies expected today with daytime highs approaching 49. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tonight. Chance of thunderstorms. Lows dip down to about 41. Isolated rain showers likely tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 50. Cloudy skies expected. Right now, 37.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
Hi, my name is Lori from LB Homes in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. We are growing our talented and dedicated team of LPNs, CNAs, and RNs, and we want to hear from you. Join our team and make a difference in the lives of our residents every day. To explore or apply, visit lbhomes.org/careers or call Heather at 218-998-1400. LB Homes, caring for you wherever you call home.
Here's to a great season for all our favorite high school athletes. American Legion is a favorite too and serves up everyone's favorite barbecued ribs. American Legion of Fergus Falls, open each Wednesday through Saturday on Pebble Lake Road in Fergus Falls.
Student athletes have their eyes on the ball, making game plans, scoring points, breaking records. At American Federal in Fergus Falls, we know you have goals too. Whether it's buying farmland, business expansion, home ownership, or planning for retirement. Our trusted advisor, Dustin Morris, will help you find the best solutions and make the right calls. Make a winning appointment with an American Federal banker in Fergus Falls today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to the program. We're talking Otter football. We're not going to let Chris Grabowska get any rest. Not yet. You don't want any right now, do you?
Nope. I'll take one for the team.
There you go. Yeah, the adrenaline kicks in at playoff time, doesn't it?
It sure does.
For everybody. I mean,
Yes.
coaches, fans, and of course the players. Well, last night, Chris's Otters were victorious 23-17 in the section championship game at the Fargo Dome against Dilworth Glendon Felton. But before we talk about the win over DGF, we need to talk about the win over EGF, because you had to play East Grand Forks in the semifinals, and you handled them, 30-0 was the final. And to me, that was you had to bye in the first round. But to have that game at home, Chris, talk about that, because you guys just treated the home crowd this year to some outstanding football, and to be able to do that one more time on a beautiful night for football, that was pretty fun to see that happen.
Oh yes, Otter Stadium is a special place to play, and our kids love playing there. Our fans love showing up, and they've done a great job all year showing up and supporting our team. And to get that win at home one last time, especially for our seniors, was a special night. And it's always hard playing team twice. And the last 2 weeks, and EGF and DGF, it's just they kind of make some adjustments and figure some things out and make it harder for you. And but it's the same thing for us too, playing them the second time. So I'm just really proud of our kids for stepping up at the right times, and I feel like our defense is really peaking at the right time the last couple of weeks, and they've done a great job getting some key stops, and especially the shutout with EGF.
Well, and in that game, Levi King had 3 picks, including a pick 6. Alex Ellison had a pick 6. I mean, do you ever see anything like that in high school football?
Well, to score twice on defense, especially this late in the playoffs, it's a special thing, and that just shows how the kids are really honed in on the preparation and getting ready for our next opponent, and they've done a great job of doing that all year, but especially in the playoffs.
Well, and you go into halftime leading only 10-0, even though you'd outplayed them a lot, and the defense had come up big for you, and you had to get the offense going. In the second half, that first possession, you had a nice long drive, punched it in, got a 16-0 lead. I don't want to say you started relaxing, but you could breathe easier after that.
Yeah, we've done great all year, going in at halftime, making some adjustments offensively, and coming out in that first drive of the second half and getting more points on the board. And that game is no different. Is just, like I said, it's hard to play a team twice. They kind of knew what we were doing at times, and we had to make some adjustments and get some points on the board.
Well, you look at the stats, and I don't know how official, Mark Johnson's stats are, but I think they're pretty close. Defense held East Grand to 34 passing yards and 167 yards of total offense. And again, just great numbers for you. And you've had your linebackers. Talk about your linebackers a little bit, because they have really done a great job. I don't know if it's read and react or anticipation or just a little bit of everything out there, but they do the job for you.
Yeah, we got some talented linebackers. Our outside backers and our inside backers are doing a great job for us. And it starts, like I said, with preparation, knowing what their assignments and keys are. And then, just reading what the offense is doing. And they always are in the right spot. They always are able to take on blocks and get off blocks and make plays for us.
And I would think tough for that offense to decide how they're going to block your defense in any play, too, because the guys are just, you got so many guys swarming to the football.
Yeah, it's great. When your front seven can stop the run and shut down the run game, and then they got to make a running team like EGF go to the pass game. And even last night with DGF, they had to pass more than normal. We got some talented DBs back there, and that's when the picks start coming in.
Right. Well, and DGF, what they run for, almost 400 yards against Morris, I think, or over 350 in that game. So you really did a nice job controlling their running game last night.
Yep, that's the key in I think at any level of football, whether it's high school, college, NFL, you have to stop the run. If you can't stop the run, then you're in trouble defensively. And I feel like our team's done a great job of stopping the run all year long, and last night was no different.
Each team had a field goal last night. Hayden Hoff got them on the board early. Jaden got one later in the game for the Otters. Nice to have that weapon there. And after they got on the board, you had a nice drive to begin with, and they shut you down at the goal line on third and fourth down. And was there any thought in your mind at that time to take the 3 points while you had the chance or not?
Yeah, I mean, it was in the back of my mind. I know Jaden, he's a great weapon, and he can make that. But it just felt like in the situation of the game, just trying to get some points on DGF early and build that lead. It's really tough for a running team like that to come back. It kind of takes them out of their element a little bit. So that's kind of the thought process behind going for it on fourth down there to try to get the score. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But, I feel like offensively last night we moved the ball really well, but shot ourselves in the foot a lot. We had a lot of penalties on offense last night.
Yeah, what was the false start deal? I mean, there were 7 or 8 or 9 false starts on your guys.
Yeah, it was frustrating. But our kids are resilient. They don't let that stuff bother them. They figure it out. But yeah, it seemed like anytime we were motioning, we were false starting. I don't know if it was the crowd noise. It was really hard to hear in the Fargo Dome. But we'll figure it out and go back to the drawing board. And it's really tough when it's 1st and 15 instead of 1st and 10. It changes your play calling a lot. So we have to clean some things up for sure.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. The crowd noise at the Fargo Dome might have been a real factor, because that isn't something you've had a problem with really throughout the year. Penalties like that many.
No, it hasn't been. And we have to figure out what it is and how to stop it and fix it, and we'll be okay.
Well, and you may not have paid off when you went for it on fourth down, but it did pay off when you held them defensively and forced the punt, and it was a short punt, and you wound up with a short field and did punch it in for a touchdown, because the battle of field position, you established that early on by going for that touchdown on fourth down, and then you took advantage of it a few minutes later. So it plays into the whole way the game unfolds.
Yeah, I feel like when we've gone for it quite a bit on fourth down this year, a lot of them have worked out, some of them haven't, but the way our defense has been playing, that always factors into it. I feel I have so much confidence in the defense that they can come up with a stop and we can still have that good field position.
Mr. Touchdown, Jack Ratz caught a 9-yard touchdown pass from Henry Bethel. What a great combination that has been. What a great target for Henry to have.
Yeah, Jack, he's a great target. He's big. He moves well for his size. And, yeah, I mean, it's tough to stop him,
Good hands.
And he's got great hands.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun to see the big guy get in the end zone again. But then the ensuing kickoff, Casey Majeski almost went the distance for you. Thankfully, I think it was Isaiah Holmes that caught him down at the 4-yard line there. But DGF, again, they're resilient too, where they knew, okay, we got to make something happen here. And Majeski's a special player.
Yeah, I can't say enough about that kid. He's a great kid. Talked to him after the game, and I just feel bad for some of those kids. High school football, it can be a heartbreaker sometimes, and been on the other side of that as well. And I know how those kids feel. They battled all night long, and both teams, it was a great game. Traded punches all night long, and yeah, he's a good player for sure.
And you've got several of those guys on your side, and one of them is Levi King. And Levi scored on a 17-yard run for you. He booted a punt late in the game that put them back against their goal line, and they had to go the length of the field to try to get back into it. And you put Levi at quarterback in some plays, and he's going to run. I know he's going to run most of the time out of that formation, but it's productive for you. So Levi gives you so many things out there at offense, defense, special teams.
Yeah, Levi, he can do everything, like you said, and he can catch, he can run, he can punt, he can throw too if we need him to.
Yep.
But yeah, he had a great game last night, I thought, and on that last punt, he pinned him inside the 5. That was huge.
Yeah.
Made it really tough for them to drive the length of the field to try to get the win. And once again, we relied on our defense, and they came up big for us. And he told me after the game, though, he's like, Coach, I could have ran it and got a first down, but I was too scared you'd be mad at me. But he would have made a great play either way. So I'm really proud of him for how he played last night.
Well, and again, the up front, the guys in the trenches, defense and offense, just getting it done game after game all year long. And anybody that wants a chance at beating the Otters is going to have to find a way to control the trenches, and that's not going to be easy to do.
Nope, they stepped up big last night again, and DGF, we know what they're bringing to the table, and we had to be more physical than them, and we had to start owning the trenches, and that's where it started. And they did a great job of that again last night.
And one of the keys this time of year is cutting down on turnovers. There was one interception thrown last night, but really, the fumbles weren't happening, which was good. You did get a recovery on a muff kick returned by them, which was good to see. The Otters took advantage there, but keeping those turnovers to a minimum. And the thing that really impressed me, Chris, last night about your team was just the patience they had out there. And it didn't seem like you were panicking at all at any point of the game. Everything was just kind of business as usual.
Yep. That's what I was talking about earlier, how resilient our kids are. Nothing really rattles them, like you said, and they have a confidence about them and that everything's going to be okay. And it was, and we didn't really get down on ourselves at any point, and they didn't really feel like we were going to lose the game at any point. They just kept grinding, kept working, and they earned that victory.
They really did. A 23-17 win, and the Section 8 3A champions, I believe, for the first time since 2009.
Yep, fall of 2008. Yeah.
Fall of 2008, 2009 class. Yeah, okay. Boy, that was a fun year, too. And now the process for the state tournament has changed in that they seed teams now, 1 through 4 in the north half, 1 through 4 in the south half, to determine the quarterfinal matchups. When will we know who you play and when you play?
Well, I'm going to that meeting right after this. So
okay.
We have a Zoom meeting at 10 o'clock, and with all the coaches and the ADs of the schools that are in it from the north. The coaches had to rank the teams 1 through 3. You can't vote for yourself.
Yep.
Last night, so we're going to kind of hash that out this morning, and we'll find out. We either will play in Alec on Friday night or St. Cloud on Saturday. So
okay.
Yeah.
Who are the other 3 teams that are in that half of the bracket?
Yes. Yeah, so it's us, Pequot Lakes, Annandale, and who was the 4th one?
Well, I don't know. That's why I asked you.
I'm drawing a blank right now.
Okay.
Us, Pequot Lake, Albany.
Oh,
Albany.
Yeah, the Huskies. Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. All right, we'll get to that meeting, and let me know as soon as you know so I can let everybody else know.
I will do. Thanks.
All right, congratulations on the section title. Great job. You and your coaching staff and your guys have had a great year. Keep it rolling. 10-0, right?
Yep, 10-0.
I like that.
Yeah, it has a nice ring to it.
It does.
11-0 is going to have a nicer ring.
There we go. All right, very good. Thanks, Chris. Chris Grabowski, head coach of the Otter football team. We're going to come back and talk Otter girls swimming and diving next. Rachel Cox will be with us after the break here on News Talk 1250 KBRF.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls has a fantastic starting lineup with America's 3 favorite truck brands, Ford, Ram, and GMC. Nelson Auto can help you enjoy your time out on the road. Check out our starting lineup at Nelson Auto Center, Fergus Falls.
Finding that missing shin guard, remembering whether it's a home or away game, getting the right kid to the right playing field on the right day. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple so you can worry about more important things, like not being that fan. Oh, come on, Ref! That's simple human sense.
Visit the Arneson Agency at their new location, 120 East Lincoln, Fergus Falls. High-quality local embroidery for your community. Running Stitches is the choice for everything, from business logos to team apparel and personal projects. They bring your designs to life. Andrew and Allison Olson from Running Stitches Embroidery are proud supporters of local sports.
Yo tengo osteoporosis, pero sé que puedo controlar la salud de mis huesos. La osteoporosis es una enfermedad que debilita los huesos y los hace más propensos a romperse. Siga una dieta saludable que incluya calcio y vitamina D. Y haga ejercicio con regularidad para mantener los huesos fuertes. Empiece su propio camino hacia una buena salud de sus huesos. Obtenga consejos sobre la salud de sus huesos en pathtogoodbonehealth.org.
Here in Minnesota, we vote. We regularly lead the nation in voter turnout. And in 2024, we're going to do it again. Because here, you can vote by mail, early in person, or in person on Election Day. Just make sure your voice is heard. Go to mnvotes.gov to find everything you need to know about voting here in Minnesota. Sponsored by the Minnesota Secretary of State and aired by this station.
Hey, welcome back to the show. It's Saturday morning. This is our next to last fall coaches show. We'll have one next week, and then we'll have 2 weeks off and be back whatever that date is when we, let's see, that'd be the 30th of November, I think. So, so we're talking swimming and diving. Rachel Cox is here, Otter Swim and Dive coach, and they've got a Saturday off here. The 2 weeks between conference and section is where we're at right now. And let's start there, Rachel. Okay, last Saturday you were busy competing in the conference meet, which we'll get to in a minute. But when you come off that meet and you're looking at 2 weeks till sections, how does that affect what you're doing training-wise?
The conference meet's always a tough one because we hit that meet when we are really training very hard. And talking to other coaches there from teams who are powerhouses, they say the same thing. It's really hard for the swimmers and the divers to feel really good about what they're doing because they're competing so tired. But we get through that week, we get through that conference meet, and then we hit taper. So this week we've been pulling back a little bit on the yardage that we've been swimming, adding more rest between sets, those types of things. So this week has been tough for the girls too in the pool because their bodies aren't used to pulling back. So by the end of the week, they were starting to feel better. But those first few days, they're like, we're in taper. Why does it still hurt so much?
You know, I was thinking about that, especially for your ultra competitive athletes who just want to go through the wall all the time here. You know, you got to get your mind to a different point here, don't you?
Yeah, and that can be really, really tough. Yeah. I actually had a meeting with Tom Uvis last weekend. I gave him a call and said, I need a little help. I need some advice on this taper for that exact reason. You know, I've got a couple of kids who just train hard. And so finding the ways to pull back and let your body rest can be hard because it's like when you train hard, you're gonna perform well, but we also need that rest. So that is the challenge of this week.
Yeah, well, you tapped a good resource there with Coach
Yes.
Uvis. He had some amazing tapers with his teams over the years. Well, Rachel, let's go back to the Central Lakes Conference Championship. We've talked about it before. Your section meet is tough, but your conference meet is like twice as tough. I mean, there are some really strong teams in there. So when you go into that setting last Saturday, what are your main priorities, your goals at conference meet?
We do try to just kind of hold our seed times that we're going in with. Like I said, it's hard. A lot of the swimmers will gain a little bit of time just because they are swimming tired. And so it really becomes kind of a mental exercise to not let that get in your head, to not think, oh, what's happening to my race? Am I not doing as well? No, you're just really tired. So there's that, trying to keep our spirits up, keep our attitudes where they should be. But we still had some great swims. We had Estee Versteeg winning all conference and then an honorable mention. Our 200 and 400 free relays both got honorable mentions. So we did all right. Despite it being a tough meet, we did a good job.
Yeah, and that's outstanding to see them get those recognitions for that accomplishment in this very strong field of competition. So the relays, I always go back to the relays for you. And with that, you know, all conference honorable mention and both freestyle relays. Are those teams the teams we're going to see out there next Saturday?
You'll have to wait till Saturday to find out.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we're messing around with some things. This week especially, we're going to spend some time really working on those relay exchanges, getting them as tight as they can be. Just what happens if we move this person here and this person here. So we're going to fine tune all of that this week, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know next weekend.
All right, I'm going to mention the members of those relay teams because they deserve it because they
Yes.
got all conference honorable mentions. So Alexis Wellman, Maya Fear, Carly Peterson, and Estee Versteeg in the 200. And in the 400, it was Ella Kopinski, Alexis Wellman, Maya Fear, and Estee Versteeg. So that's what the teams were last week. We'll
Yes.
see if Coach Cox has different ideas coming up for this Saturday. But, I think of these girls, these names we just mentioned, they've been so consistent for you all year long. And they love to compete. And when you're on a relay team, you kind of build that camaraderie too, don't you? If you do it enough together, you kind of know what to expect from everyone else on the relay team and just become kind of a team within the team.
Right. And those girls know each other's strokes really well. So they know, okay, I see Maya coming in the wall. I know it's going to be this many strokes, and then I got to go. So they start to learn each other's patterns, their speed, their pace. Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, this time of year, I don't know how much more you can do as a coach, tweaking things, as far as turns and starts and strokes and all that. But it's got to be harder as a coach, too, at this time of the year to kind of know where to hone in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been giving the girls a lot of leeway in their own training. So I'll put sets up, and they'll say, well, can we try it this way? Yes, you can. This is where your athletic mind needs to come into play. You know what your body needs. What stroke or what race you're specializing in. Let's fine tune those details. So we're probably not at this point like mixing up stroke technique, like, oh, let's try something new. That's not what we're doing this week, but we are absolutely working on those details. We're practicing our starts, we're practicing our turns, we're working on not breathing in and out of the walls. So it is just fine tuning those details, because now as we cut back on the yardage, we have more time. So we can slow practice down a little bit and work on those things that we work on through the season, but we can't always just really dig in, because you get kind of hung up with how much time you have to practice, the meet schedule, and everything else. So these 2 weeks of training are really important.
Yeah, it sounds like you get to focus in on certain things that just you don't have time for during a regular practice during the season.
Yeah.
So how much will you rely on what you saw at the state true team meet to make your lineup for next week and put different swimmers in different events that they are stronger in? How much does that experience formulate what you're doing for next week?
I've been agonizing over the section lineup. The girls know that. I'm really transparent with them. Just I want them to know my thought process, what I'm looking at in terms of other teams. Whether I'm looking at how will we compete against other teams in our section, what did it look like more at true team section where we got that view of the other teams in our section, and then for swimmers like Estee, what does this look like when you take this race to state, because that's a whole different thing too. So there are a lot of different moving parts, making sure that everyone on the team gets utilized, and we have a big team this year and you have limited entries. So trying to figure out how can I give everyone a shot to swim, and how can that shot be the most beneficial to the team and then also to the swimmer in moving forward.
So what is required of a swimmer to make it to state at sections?
Oh, so for girls swimming, the top 2 finishers in every race will make it to state, or if you swim that state cut time, then you can make it as well.
All right. So that's different, of course, in every event, but it'll be interesting to see how that does. It seems like our section usually has some qualifiers for the state cut time in some events. It's getting harder, I know, to do that. But.
Yeah. I mean, Estee Versteeg has had a really strong season. She's usually finishing top 1 or 2, but then at our last meet against Apollo, she's swimming state cut times. So, I mean, I'm hoping that she makes it far. You can't ever count on anything, but she's got a great shot at going far at that state meet. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Sure.
Getting as many people there as you can, and you got, like you mentioned, Ella Kopinski. She's been neck and neck with another 8th grade swimmer from DL, powerhouse there, and their 200 IM times are a 10th of a second apart. Right now, Ella's on top in that second place spot, but yeah, a 10th of a second isn't a whole lot.
So Coaches are notorious for scoring out meets during the week leading up to it. Have you done that yet with the section meet?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I put out some ideas there. I think I've got kind of an idea of how it's going to go, but there's just so many variables. Like all of my kids have to swim the exact same way, and all of the teams that we met at True Team would have to swim the same way for my scoring to kind of come out the way I think it can. But I think I'll be pretty close. We'll see.
All right, and having that section True Team championship, you have a lot of confidence going into this meet. Are the Otters the team to beat without question?
We'll see. We'll see about that. I'm nervous about a lot of things. That my girls know that too. I don't ever want to, count my chickens. But yeah, I mean, we've had such a strong season. I would imagine we're going to have a strong meet. But you got teams like Park Rapids who are not in the Central Lakes Conference, so they're swimming fewer meets throughout the season. So they've got a little bit more time to dedicate to training. So they train hard. They taper really well. I don't know what we're going to see out of Park Rapids. So I'm not betting on anything, but our Otters we're a pretty strong team.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Yes. So diving. Let's talk diving for a minute. You got 3 divers that have really produced for you consistently all season long. What does the diving part of the meet look like?
Well, we've got 3 divers this year. Michelle Mao is a senior. I think she's got a good chance at possibly finishing in the top. Actually, for diving, it's the top 4 that make it to state. So Michelle, she's worth a mention there. Ciamara, she's an 8th grader, but really working on some of those tougher dives with a higher degree of difficulty for, earning those higher scores. But a new diver, so she's still developing. So we'll see. We've had strong diving all season long.
Yeah, and then of course getting points from your divers makes a big difference in that team scoring. So,
yeah.
And the final question: are the Otters healthy? Going in.
They are.
All right,
They are.
all
The only one who's really been sick lately has been me. So
we can deal with the sick coach. Right?
Yeah. I mean, going into conference, there were a lot of colds and stuff like that going around. But like I said, pulling back and taper, letting their bodies rest. It looks like they're recovering. By yesterday at practice, the girls were saying, "Oh, I feel better. My body feels better." So hopefully by next Friday, we are ready to go.
All right. Well, you guys have a great week of practice. We'll look forward to seeing how the Otters do next week, and and catching up with you after that to see what lies ahead.
Right.
All
Yes.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. Rachel Cox, head coach of the Otter girls swimming and diving team, joining us this morning on our Coaches Show. We're going to talk Spartan football, put a wrap on the season there with Bernard Holsey, and then we're going to talk baseball at the top of the hour. Dave Goltz, former major leaguer who was a part of the 1981 Dodgers when they played the Yankees in the World Series, will join us to talk about the renewal of that World Series rivalry and some of his memories from baseball. So we're going to talk about baseball, too, at the end of the season. So don't go away. More to come here on News Talk 1250 KBRF.
To a great season for all our favorite high school athletes. American Legion is a favorite too and serves up everyone's favorite barbecued ribs. American Legion of Fergus Falls, open each Wednesday through Saturday on Pebble Lake Road in Fergus Falls.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Looking for a place where fitness, community, and family fun come together? Join the YMCA of the Northern Sky. With 2 welcoming facilities in Fargo, North Dakota, and 1 in Fergus Falls, Minnesota, we've got something for everyone. At the Y, you'll find expert guidance, state-of-the-art equipment, great programs for the whole family, and a supportive community cheering you on every step of the way. Visit ymcanorthernsky.org today and discover why we're a place where you truly belong. That's ymcanorthernsky.org.
All right, we're back on the show talking Spartan football with Bernard Holsey, the head coach of the Spartans, who finished 4-5 on the season. And Bernard, we were just chatting a little bit here before we went on, and I really think your guys really came on strong toward the end of the year. You played some really good football, with the exception of the Wasabi game, maybe,
Yes,
But coming off that game, though, I thought you guys really put it together with the semifinals. Let's see, what was that? 16-7 victory over Vermilion, and then battled with one of the best teams around, NDSCS. Had a really good battle with them and came up short at the end in that semifinal contest last week. But how did you feel about the progress of your team over the last month of the season?
I think we started gelling as a team. Obviously, we had some injuries, and guys had to step into roles and do some things they weren't accustomed to doing. But I think guys, took the bull by the horns and accepted their role and started, really playing as a team and focusing on, just everyday business. Trying to get better, each practice and leading up into the game. And I try to emphasize that, one thing that some people, I guess, that aren't in the sport of football don't understand is that the mental aspect is the biggest thing, and don't get me wrong, it's a physical sport, but if you don't have that mental fortitude, that's where guys get lost, where games are lost, because, you can never be too high or too low, and sometimes when you get too high, you get a little complacent, and then when you get too low, then your confidence goes, and you need to be confident in what you're doing. And, I think, the first part of the season, we were learning how to win. And once we, and I kept pressing the guys about, we're right at the cusp of, winning a ball game. I said, well, we just got to get over that hump. Once we did, and, they felt some success. That is funny. They were congratulating me for my first win. And I'm like, no, this is not for me. This is for you. And I told them that, this is why I coach. I want to see the excitement in their eyes of, when we go to practice, you have a grueling practice, and, sometimes they don't see the outcome in practice, but then once they get that feeling of success of a win, that's what makes it all worth coaching.
And as a coach, you can't underestimate the value of the solid leadership on your team. Who did you see step up? And you talked about guys, filling roles they weren't used to filling just to help the team out. Who are the guys that you look to provide that team leadership?
Well, I think of quite a few guys, and I hope guys don't get upset if I don't mention their names, but guys that come to mind, Marcus Bradley was a big help. He was a second-year guy, and he came in and showed a lot of leadership. Stephon Chapman, Rashad Madden, and there's a bunch of younger guys as well that first-year guys that showed fortitude. I think Jaden Leonard, Jaden Reed, just to name a few. I could go on and on, but I think it was across the board. Guys started holding each other accountable, and even as a second-year player or what they would call a veteran of the team, there will be days where you don't always want to necessarily practice but I think guys have picked each other up, and even the young, like I said, the freshman, first-year guys were picking each other up and, telling everybody to come on, let's have good practice and make sure we focus on what we're doing. I emphasized that quite a bit at the beginning of practice, and those guys kind of, took the lead on that, and which is good because I think that's what, and I should say I know that's what makes a good team when you have the on-the-field leaders, and where I don't have to coach or have to give guys a pep talk because I'm not. I mean, I know if somebody see me on the sideline, I'm very dramatic and, in the way I coach in some aspects. But I feel like, when your players take a hold of the leadership role, that's what makes a great team.
I think players love to see that passion in their coach too, don't they? You can speak from a former player standpoint.
I
there.
do.
Yeah.
I've had different coaches, but for me, I think I do. I would love to see, I like to see coaches with that passion, and sometimes I don't want to. I've had coaches that go a little above and beyond, and I try not to, hit that threshold in that aspect. But I can say this that, and I tell guys this all the time. I said, I'm passionate about what I do, and I want to see you guys do well. So, if I get on you about something and it seems a little harsh, I said I'm the first person to put my arm around you and talk to you, in a calmer manner, or pull you to the side, or things like that. And that's what some people don't see, that I try to do, because as a player, I've seen it both ways, and every player responds to coaching styles different. So I've tried to adapt to different coaching styles and use that in my sort of repertoire toolbox, if you will, and try to help guys get better and motivate them and get that internal motivation. Because sometimes I think it's difficult for guys to get them their own selves motivated. I was a self motivator, just because I've always wanted it. I wasn't always the best, and some guys see me as a former college player, former NFL player, and they say, "Well, coach, you did this," and I said, "Well, you guys didn't see me when I was doing the constant repetitions in the backyard, or in a field, or on a practice field or whatnot." So just want them guys to get that mental toughness.
First year as Spartan head coach. You were
Yes,
here
sir.
last year as an assistant. You've
Yes, sir.
coached at a lot of different levels. What did you learn this year about yourself as a coach and this conference, and the difficulty of coaching community college athletics? What did you learn?
I think I have expanded my role as, doing more, as a coach. I've coached special teams before, but this year I did quite a bit of special teams, if not all of it sometimes, because we got hit with a little flu bug in one part of the season. So I had to kind of take over a role and actually kept up with it. So I learned that I could do a lot more. I got pushed, which is good, because I love to be pushed. But I just didn't think it was going to come in that fashion. But it was good because I became more creative. A lot of hours spent, because people see me, well, coach, you need to get some rest. I said, well, I'll rest when the season's done. It's okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's when it's time to rest, right? Last week, NDSCS 34-20, a victory for the Wildcats.
Yes, sir.
What turned that game around? Where did you think the Wildcats kind of got control of that?
I think we just made too many mental errors, and they're a good football team, and they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over, which is good. The coach has them on the right track, and from what I know, he's always had them on the right track. I just think we didn't capitalize on things we should have, and that comes with football. It's just with football, if you're not, you only get one chance at it. It's not like baseball or basketball where you have like a series where you have another game to get back on track. You only have that moment to get on track, and that's what I emphasize. And you know what? And I just told the guys, I said, it wasn't from the lack of effort. I said I think we fought hard, and as a player, you hate hearing that you fought hard, but because you always have in the back of your mind, well, we should have won, or we could have had a chance to win. And I just told them I was proud of them for their effort. I said, we came up short. I said, this all comes back down to, honing in on the little things, not making the mental errors, not making the physical errors. And, I think the guys that were leaving, the sophomores, for their leadership, and as well, I told the guys they're coming back and hopefully come back, we'll get this train rolling and be on a better track next year.
They had a pick six right away in that game.
Yes,
That's
sir.
always a bad start. It's hard to bounce back from.
It is.
And then they broke off a big touchdown run, so you're down 2 scores right away. But your guys had some resilience there. You came back.
Absolutely. I was proud of them and the way they didn't quit and didn't just say, this ball game is over because it's 14-0. And fortunately, we've been in some spots like that before and we didn't quit. So my hat's off to my guys for not quitting and staying the course, and not trying to say, well, let's get it back in a big chunk and just kind of chip away. And we kind of did that, and then we had some setbacks. But I think we still had an opportunity, to be successful and probably possibly win the ball game at halftime. We just didn't make the plays in the second half, and NDSCS did.
Yeah. And Wildcats are playing for the title tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, against, is it Rochester?
No, they played Masabi.
Masabi, yes,
Masabi.
thank you. Yeah.
That was some people look at it as upset. I kind of thought Rochester would win, but also playing Masabi, I know they had a good team.
Yeah.
So they do.
Right. So the recruiting trail, Coach,
Yes, sir.
you're on it, I imagine.
Yeah. It just never stops. Constantly, just trying to find guys that fit the mold, and I want guys that want to be here and want to win. Don't get me wrong, I always want to catapult guys' careers to the next level or to a 4-year school or wherever you want to go. However, I'm all about making this program a success. So that's one thing that I always start with. If they don't want to win as a team, I said, you probably don't want to be coached by Coach Holsey. And I said, that's just me.
So speaking of catapulting careers to the next level, do you have some sophomores that are considering going on and playing at a 4-year school?
There's quite a bit of my sophomores are gung-ho about going to play, and hopefully it'll make that happen. I think there will be a lot of guys that will play at 4-year schools next year.
All right. That's always fun, too, to see that. And
Absolutely.
I imagine you're building quite a network there, or have one already in place.
I am. There's several different coaches that have reached out to me. There's several teammates of mine from the college level to the professional ranks that coach in college, and I've reached out to them, and we've kind of definitely created a little pipeline and, get that connection. I always try to keep that connection open, and I've created some more, throughout the season.
Well, those pipelines are pretty important, aren't they?
Yes, sir, they are.
So, okay, I don't think I've asked you this, Bernard, but what's your opinion on the NIL stuff and the transfer
gosh.
portal? And,
boy.
and we've only got about a minute, so.
I'm about loyalty, so and wouldn't have ever thought about transferring from Duke. I mean, we were not successful, so I thought about it for a second, but I just wanted to stay the course. I think there's a happy medium, but some of this, in my opinion, NIL, the money is getting a little bit out of hand. I think they need to put it in the trust for them when they get older, so when they do finish playing football, they can have that money and not, buy something and right now, and the next thing you know, they're in bankruptcy or any kind of financial trouble.
That's a great plan. I like that. They should hire you.
I don't know about that.
Well, hey, thanks for coming in. Bernard's been so good at just filling in whenever we asked, and I appreciate that, and fun to see you working with these guys. And before I let you go, shout out to the guys that helped you on the sidelines, because it's hard to coach a college football team alone.
Absolutely. Malik Smith, Jarvis Green, and my right-hand man, Dante Wright, who is probably he's either in Austin or in South Carolina because he has 2 or 3 other jobs. He's a great guy. So.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Bernard.
Thank you.
Yep, we'll look forward to seeing what Spartans put out there next year.
All right.
Bernard Holsey, the head coach of the Spartan football team, joining us again on the Coaches Show. We're going to talk baseball next. Dave Goltz, former Major League player, is going to join us. And, of that Dodger-Yankee rivalry from 1981. He's a part of the Dodgers. I'll always remember Dave as a Twin. So we'll catch up with him on the other side of the break. Thanks for joining us this morning on News Talk 1250 KBRF.
News Talk Sports and Ag Information. News Talk 1250 AM KBRF, Fergus Falls. Depend on it. Portions of today's program may be pre-recorded.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls has a fantastic starting lineup with America's 3 favorite truck brands, Ford, Ram, and GMC. Nelson Auto can help you enjoy your time out on the road. Check out our starting lineup at Nelson Auto Center, Fergus Falls.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
At Wheelchairs for Warriors, serving America's heroes is our mission. With your support, we serve veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty across the United States of America, providing them custom fit, complex rehab mobility solutions to ensure they rejoin their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. Join the mission at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
There's a cat explosion at the Humane Society of Lauderdale County with 27 cats available for adoption and 10 more becoming available soon. That's right, 27 cats. Long hair, short hair, cuddlers, players, and couch potatoes. Not only is the selection tremendous, the Humane Society is running an adoption special of $50 for all cats, including kittens, through the month of November. This includes spay, neuter, immunizations, and a microchip. Stop by the shelter soon to see these little charmers. Humane Society of Lauderdale County, 1933 West Fur Avenue, Fergus Falls.
All right, we're back on the program this morning, and I know it's November and baseball season's over, but what better time to talk about baseball, right? The off-season in baseball is different than any other sports off-season, I think. There's a lot going on in the off-season in baseball. This is Dave Goltz. Dave is a former Major League player, spent 8 years with the Twins, 12 years in the majors, I believe, and had an outstanding career, 20-game winner in 1977, and played in the World Series in 1981. That Dodger-Yankee thing, Dave, now you were a Dodger for parts of 2 seasons? Or
80, 81, and part of 82.
So you experienced that rivalry in that short time, the Dodgers-Yankees. Was it as big as they play it up to be?
Yes, it is.
That had to be a special thing. And I know you made your Major League debut at Yankee Stadium, didn't you?
Yes. I think I came in relief of Ray Corbin. I pitched 3 1/3. I think I only gave up 1 hit. And the nice thing about that is that the next day, I was standing in the outfield. We were taking hitting, shagging balls, and somebody on the sidelines was yelling at me, come on over, we want to talk to you. It was Bill Kolbeck.
Former Hillcrest coach and principal, and yeah, and you knew him from high school, probably.
Yeah, played against his teams.
Yes.
From high school, yep.
Because Dave was a stellar athlete at Rothsay High School, 1,000-point scorer, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, in basketball, so yeah. Oh, as long as we went there, or I went there, I told you I didn't know where it was going to go with this. It's just going to be a lot of baseball talk. But share the story about how you were discovered by a Major League scout. Was it Angelo Giuliani? Is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Giuliani, Billy Kane, Johnny Maurer. They were up in Grand Forks, East Grand, for the district tournament. And we were supposed to be there. We'd annihilated Breckenridge twice during the season. And in the playoff games before you go to the district, we got beat 2-1 by Breckenridge. So we didn't go. And they were planning on going up there and possibly seeing me pitch up there. Well, then on their way home, they stopped in Rothsay. And they said they saw me in the cornfield.
Oh.
It was my dad's sweet corn patch in the garden, and we used a neighbor's garage as a backstop, and I threw to them for a while. So they did get to see me throw.
Yeah, just not in a game setting.
No, not in a game setting, no.
Well, and from there, of course, you went on to pitch for the Twins for 8 years. And when I looked back and looked at some of your stats just to kind of remember, and I remember well because I was 17 when you made your debut, and I was working my first radio job, and I was actually engineering the Twins game when you made your debut, because I remember Herb Carneal saying, here's a young man who was born in Pelican Rapids and went to Rothsay High School. I'm like, what? He's from around here. Who is this guy? You know, and it's Dave Goltz. So, and that was your debut, and that was 72. But it was exciting to have the local player on the Twins. But I looked back at the stats, and you had, I think every year you were a Twin, your win-loss record was at least 500 or over 500. So you were on some pretty successful Twins teams during those years.
Yeah, for several seasons in a row, we had 3 teams that usually finished close to each other in the end, Kansas City, Chicago, and us. And it was pretty tense. The last 2 to 3 weeks of the season, it was always close. So.
Well, in your 20-win season, what a special year. That may be the best Twins team that never made the postseason.
Yes, we had quite a crew then. Rod Carew
Right.
was there.
388 his year that
and
year.
Larry Heisel, he led the league in RBIs.
Yep.
Just a lot of good hitters, good players.
Lyman Bostock on that team
Bostock was
also.
there. Weiniger.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Dave was so gracious to do his the color commentary on our Otter baseball games back when Darren and Brandon were playing. We had a lot of fun, or I had a lot of fun with that anyway. But I took advantage of rain delays, I will admit it, and asked Dave a lot of professional baseball questions, and he was kind enough to answer them. But I do remember a couple of exchanges we had that I'd like you to share too. I asked you at one point, who was the best catcher you ever worked with as far as being on the same page, the guy that kind of you worked with the best?
That'd have been Butch Weiniger. Yep. See, in 77, when I won the 20, you sit down before each game and you go over the hitters. So, you have an idea how you want to approach each guy. We have charts that tell us how they hit, what they hit, where the majority of their base hits go. So in a normal game, I didn't disagree with Weiniger maybe 2-3 times in 9 innings.
Wow, that's pretty good. Now, the scouting has changed a little bit over the years with the technology and everything that they have and these stats that they have now. Can you believe that? All the different.
Oh,
it's kind of over my head. I don't know.
Same here.
Yeah.
This new attitude toward how they rate players and some of the things I don't understand what they're thinking about. It's not the old style baseball.
Right.
How's your swing? Is it at this angle? How's your bat speed through the strike zone? We had that too, but it was just, okay, he had a fast bat swing.
Right.
Big deal.
Well, and every pitcher now, if you don't throw almost 100 miles an hour, it's like you're worthless. I don't understand that either.
No. Look, the guy that come in and threw nothing but changeups, look how successful he was.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It's speed. Well, speed is the name of the game, no matter what you're in, basketball, baseball, football.
Right. And you think back to the years you were a major league player, how many guys hit 100? 100 miles an hour from the mound. Not many.
1 or 2 at the most. Nolan Ryan at 1. Yeah. And, geez, I don't even remember anybody else that was close.
No, exactly. You had to be a pitcher, not just a thrower then.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
You had to be able to set people up and hit spots and stuff. So, a little different.
You had pretty good speed. What was your top speed? Do you remember what you were clocked at? They didn't do a lot of every pitch clocking then, but.
No, I think I got clocked at 93 once down in Texas, but that same radar clocked trees at about 75.
So you're a little faster than trees. Okay, that's good. No, but you developed a pretty good out pitch. Wasn't the knuckle curve one of your? Yeah.
I trying to think if I used it at all in high school, but mainly for a changeup once I got going in the minor leagues. Because of the arm speed was the same, but the ball didn't come out as fast. And after a while, we could pick up on the movement of the ball, and I could start to control which way it went. And I think in AAA is where I started using it a lot. And I remember out in Hawaii, we were playing out there, and a couple of the games that I had thrown out there, it was really a good out pitch, and it doesn't take much from then.
No, that's awesome to have a pitch that you can control that's that effective. As far as pitching coaches and guys that helped you develop your repertoire and your confidence on the mound, who were the most influential guys for you?
There's 2 that ring a bell with me. My very first coach was Fred Waters. And he actually worked with pitchers, starting pitchers, in between starts. And he taught us how to throw a changeup and a little bit about the thinking of how you approach hitters. And then the other one is Don McMahon. He was with Minnesota in the 20-game season there. And he was real good at picking up flaws and trying to correct them, and did a good job at that.
He pitched for many years, didn't he,
Yes,
in the
he
majors?
did. I think
yeah.
he was still in his 40s when he was pitching
Yeah.
with San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Well, you also played with some pretty good pitchers. Bert Blyleven was one of your teammates
Yep.
for several years, I'm sure. And who were some of the other big names? Don Sutton, was he a teammate of yours
Yes.
in L.A.? Yeah.
Sutton, Valenzuela.
Oh, yeah, Fernando.
Trying to think back.
Yeah.
Bob Welch.
Oh, yeah.
Doug Rao, Jerry Royce.
Yep.
There's some pretty
Good
good
pitchers on the
And then when I got over to California, Tommy John was there. Bruce Keeson from Pittsburgh. I'm trying to think of some of the other guys.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Lots of good names there. Wow.
I even played once with Jim Perry.
Okay, he was on the team when you
My
came
very
up.
first
Yeah.
one, yeah.
He was a big man.
Yes, he is.
I mean, you're a big man, but I remember I got in an elevator once with Jim Perry and Bob Allison. They're both huge guys.
People,
Yeah. Good athletes. Well, Fernando, you brought up Fernando. And, of course, he passed here recently.
Yes.
And what a phenomenon that was. And you were there in 1981, the year that he came on the scene, the baby bull, El Toro. And wow, was that exciting. Share your perspective as a teammate and what was going on there at that time.
Well, it was crazy that first game that he pitched. Somebody was supposed to start, and I don't remember who it was, but got sick right before the game. So, and Valenzuela had thrown batting practice that day, too. And not a lot, but he had thrown. And they asked him if he could go a few innings. Well, yeah, he can. And I think he did the whole game. And, his style was so different. He wasn't even looking at you sometimes. And having that screwball from the lefty, that's a little different for everybody. And he was very successful with it. So it was amazing. And there were a lot of people in the stands all the time with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
You'd have 35 to 45,000 all the time. But when Fernando pitched, you'd have maximum, I guess.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let anybody else in.
The fire marshal was watching closely on those games. And that did so much, too, for the Hispanic base of fans, I think, in L.A. They always had a strong base there, but when Fernando came on the scene, that exploded.
Yes, that was the majority of the attendance during his game time.
Fernando Mania, what a great name to label what the Dodger fans experienced there. Yeah. Well, that year, that Yankee-Dodger series, now, did it go 6 games? Is that right, in 81? You remember?
Yes.
Yeah, you beat them 4-2. And you got to pitch in a couple of those games coming out of the bullpen, right?
Yeah.
I always will think of you as a starter because you were for the majority of your career, but how tough an adjustment was that to go from a starting mentality to the bullpen?
Big time. I'd never really done it. Maybe the first year that I played in minor leagues, you'd get to pitch 5 innings and then somebody else would come in. They're trying to save the arms down there too. But to get to that level, and I'd really never done it before, and it takes me quite a while to get loose. And it was a real awakening experience.
And those World Series appearances, how special was it to be a part of the World Series? And here you are, you're getting toward the end of the career here, and every player wants to get that experience.
Yeah, there's a lot of big name players that never got to play in the World Series. So very special. In New York, when I got called to come and pitch, I don't even remember walking to the mound. That's how adrenaline kicked in, and that's it.
Before you knew it, you're on the mound, ready to face.
Standing there. How did I get here?
Well, speaking of being in New York, what was your favorite ballpark to pitch in on the road?
I liked Oakland. Heavy grass.
Yes.
And a lot of room in foul territory. And very hard to hit it out of.
Right. You had pretty good success there, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But, how about the worst, absolute worst ballpark on the road for you?
San Francisco.
Okay.
Terrible.
Candlestick, yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible.
When you got to do that a few times that year at the Dodgers, probably.
Yeah. I remember first time going in, guys were packing in the clubhouse to make the road trip up there. And they've taken all these pads out. And I'm looking at them, and Russell came over and said, you're wondering what's going on. He said their infield was crushed brick. So when you slide, half your hide is laying in the dirt.
Oh.
So they wore extra padding when they went up there. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And the fans, they were the worst by far. But, we had Reggie Smith there went up in the fans after stands after one guy once.
Remember that? Yeah. They were talking baseball with Dave Goltz, former Twins great and Major League player, and more to come with Dave. Want to take a quick break? I've got more questions for him. I'm not going to let you go yet. Okay, your door is locked. So we'll be right back with more here on News Talk 1250 KBRF.
What makes Fergus Falls unique? It's the obscure places, the hidden gems, the remarkable people.
UnveiledLocal.com.
We exist to unveil the best of the Fergus Falls community to you. We're Unveiled Local, a new website dedicated to revealing all the awesome in our community.
UnveiledLocal.com.
Dive into the narratives that make Fergus Falls incredible.
UnveiledLocal.com.
Discover the threads that connect our community together.
UnveiledLocal.com.
Presented by Fergus Falls Monument at ForeverStoneMemorials.com. Most of us will never have to experience the long absences from our homes and families that brave Americans throughout our history have been willing to endure. November 11th is Veterans Day, and we say thank you to veterans across America and right here at home. This message is proudly supported by John's Heating and Air Conditioning of Fergus Falls for the right service to regulate your home's climate all year long. John's Heating and Air Conditioning.
The all-new redesigned Chevy Equinox has arrived at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. Its spacious and versatile interior provides comfort and convenient driver technologies. Add a dynamic, eye-catching exterior, and you've got a crossover SUV loaded with smart style and practical dependability. It's Equinox taken to a whole new level. Contact the sales team at Minnesota Motor Company for a test drive today.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
High-quality local embroidery for your community. Running Stitches is the choice for everything, from business logos to team apparel and personal projects. They bring your designs to life. Andrew and Allison Olson from Running Stitches Embroidery are proud supporters of local sports.
Welcome back to the program. It's our coaches show. One more week after this week. Then we get a 2-week break before winter season kicks in. Dave Goltz is with us. We're talking baseball. I can talk baseball any time of the year. But, Dave, before we go back to a couple of the questions I have for you about your Major League career, I want to talk about your career here because you coached the Spartans. Bernard Holsey was in before you. You coached the Spartan baseball team for how many years?
2 years, and then I helped out with the pitchers another year, but not as a coach, just on the sides during the week.
I remember covering some of those games. It's so windy up there on that field.
we had one year we didn't play a game above 50 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
That was terrible. And wind.
Yes, and I remember, I think this was your era as a coach. Tony Kinneberg was a pitcher out of Galchute, North Dakota.
North Dakota.
He was good.
Yes, he was.
Some stuff.
I had to work with him quite a bit to get him to throw a little bit of a breaking pitch, just even a cutter. And he threw very well. He had good control, too.
Well, and I mentioned Mr. Goltz being gracious enough to do my color commentary on baseball. He also was gracious enough to respond to my request to him when Chris Svingen and Dave Retzloff and I were coaching Dwarf League and Pony League to come and work with our pitchers because, I mean, you know a lot about pitching. And I said, I'm sure you get this request a lot, David, to come and help with these young kids and kind of get them comfortable. And he said, no, not really. And I thought, what is wrong with people who are coaching these kids? We got a guy like Dave Goltz here who can help them. And so I appreciate that all those years ago that you worked with these young kids and helped them to understand the pitching a little more.
It was fun. I remember being in the high school gym working with some of the high school pitchers when they were starting. And I went through with everybody, and nobody there at that time threw a slider or a cutter.
Yep.
And I think it was just last year my wife was somewhere, and one of the pitchers from back then said that he knew me, and I was there to help him, and he remembered learning to throw the slider there, so it felt good for me.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, this era of baseball, it's changed so much, and I'm thinking of, as a pitcher, now you have a pitch clock, okay? And now if you're coming out of the bullpen, you have to face 3 batters. There are things that are changing here. The extra inning rule in the regular season, I start with the runner on second in the 10th inning. What do you, after experiencing 12 years of Major League Baseball back in the heyday, what do you think of all the changes that we're seeing?
The pitch clock would have never bothered me. I work very fast. The one that really bugs me is the guy on second in extra innings. People come to watch the game. It's not that they want to get it over with.
Right.
And that's pretty much what I think this is. Start them, get them out of here by the 10th inning. And you have people that come from North Dakota, South Dakota, Southern Iowa to watch whether it be Twins or whoever is in with them. They don't mind staying longer. I don't know what the deal is where they think they got to have that 100 pitch count. Don't understand that either. We had a pitch count too. As they came up to you after the game and told you how many pitches you threw.
When you were a starter back then, you wanted to be there in the 9th inning. You
Yes.
weren't looking at giving us 5 or 6 innings.
I remember Bob Rogers, the catching coach, when I first came up, and I got a few starts in, and I was getting into the 7th inning, and then get a little trouble, and they bring in relief pitchers. And he came up to me after about the 3rd game, and he says, if you don't start going longer, you're not going to be a starter much more. So, you just don't get it. Why 5 innings, you're out of there? I don't understand that at all.
I don't either. I never will understand it. I mean, I love the game, but I love the game when you played it more than I love the game today. You played against a lot of great players. I mean, Hall of Famers up and down the list. And I know I asked you this before too, but toughest out for you, who was the guy that just you dreaded to see come into the batter's box?
Chris Chambliss.
That's the guy. First baseman for the Yankees.
Yep. Trying to think how. Well, Chris used to come to the plate smiling when I was pitching. So.
He had your number, huh?
Yeah. I remember I pitched one of the games in a doubleheader out in New York, and I had been feeling tough, fighting a cold or whatever, so I wasn't throwing quite the same as I normally do. And he finally had a hard time with me because the pitches probably weren't as fast and weren't in the right locations. That's my best game against him when I was sick.
You should have been sick more when you were playing the Yankees. Yeah. How about the guy that would surprise me the most that you had no trouble with? The one of the great hitters that you just had his number.
Reggie Jackson.
Ah.
Yeah. I'm sure he hit a home run off me sometime. I just don't remember. Try not to anyway. And I was very successful with an overhand curveball with him and a lot of ground balls out. So that was even surprising to me.
Yeah. You played with a lot of guys through the years. Who are your favorite teammates or guys that you've kind of stayed in touch with over the years?
Well, Bill Campbell, Tom Bergmeyer. I've gone on hunting trips with Bill and Tom. Jerry Terrell, another guy from Minnesota. We go out to Arizona in the winter, and the Terrells live out there, well, one of their homes. And we usually end up over at his house a couple times for dinner, and they've come to our place. And get to see him a lot.
Yeah.
So probably mostly Jerry. Now, nobody else around the area or anything like that.
Yeah. The Twins, maybe as well as anybody in all of baseball, does a great job involving former players and alumni in different functions. Have you been a part of some of that over the years?
Yes, I've done their winter caravan deal. Did that a few years when I was playing. And then in the winter when they have all the players come in and sign the autographs with the people, and you're there for couple hours or whatever. I've done that before too, and a few functions for them. I was at the Diamond Awards once, so
Yeah. Okay, that's good. They do a great job involving their
yes, they do.
alumni.
Yep.
So the last couple of minutes here, just update if you would here. I know your boys, Darren and Brandon, played for the Otters, and Darren played hockey, and Brandon played basketball, and they both played baseball. And people will remember them, I'm sure, who were around at that time. And Brandon actually pitched for the Red Hawks for a couple of seasons.
Yeah,
didn't he?
he's got a championship ring that
Yeah.
is twice the size of my World Series ring.
How did that work out?
I don't know. I told him I'll use it for a boat anchor. And then he doesn't let me forget that his record is better than mine too. I think he was 12-3 or something one year, and I was never quite that good.
Oh, yeah. How fun was that to be able to watch
that
your
was
boys
wonderful.
play? You know?
Wonderful.
Yeah. Fun times for sure. And now how many grandkids do you have?
I have 4 boys. All played hockey. One is now graduated and is in college. He's not playing hockey there. He hurt his knee, so he's done. I got 2 of them that'll be they're sophomores, so one is questionable. He might make the varsity.
Okay.
And the other one we're waiting to see. Their tryouts are starting. And then I have another one that's Owen or Gavin. I think he's 11, so he'll be playing a lot of games. So
Okay.
that's our winter schedule: hockey.
There you go. Oh, you're on the road a lot. And of course, your daughter, Alana.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're all doing well. And
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
Lana's in St. Cloud. Darren is in Brainerd, and he's in West Fargo.
Okay.
Trying to
Brandon,
make sure
yeah.
Brandon was where he's supposed to be.
Okay. And of course, Sherry's been a great support through the years for you. I know she, as a baseball player's wife, you got a lot of things to do because you're kind of a single parent for a long time.
Yeah, I was someplace just recently, and they asked, are you still at this address? And I said, yeah, we've been there for 40-some years. And they shake their head, wow, that's a long time. I said, well, the first 8 years, we moved 26 times, so a little different.
Yeah, no kidding. David, thanks so much for coming in and talking. I've got so many more questions for you, so I'll probably call you again. But
it's cold and blizzarding.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it was fun because the renewal of that Yankee-Dodger rivalry, I thought, hey, Dave played in that 81. I'm going to give him a call, see if it'll work out. So thank you for filling the void.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it. That's Dave Goltz, former Major League player, 8 years, a Minnesota Twin, and played in that Dodger-Yankee World Series rivalry back in 1981. And, of course, the Dodgers, if you missed it, the Dodgers beat the Yankees in 5 games here in the 2024. So thanks for joining us on News Talk 1250 KBRF.